there's a whole cabinet to confirm yet. Confirmation hearings get underway this week. Let's talk about that and more. Katherine Swartz, reporter at NOTUS, up late with me tonight here on the Final Five. Right before we started rolling, you said every time we've had you on, you're like, this is the busiest week in Washington, and you tend to outdo yourself each and every time.
Well, Congress has a way of making that happen. Every week they seem to amaze me. But this really, truly is a very busy week, Jim, because not only, of course, the inauguration around the corner next week, but all week the Senate is jam-packed with confirmation hearings. So you won't see the action on the floor. These will be in the committees, but some high-profile ones are making their way through this week. And really all eyes are on the Senate for what happens in this questioning.
So conventional wisdom says Republicans have the Senate, they have the votes. If you get every Republican on board, confirmation will be a snap. Is it that simple at this point?
It's a big if. It's a big if you get every Republican on board. So it's true. Where the Senate stands, you've got a 4-seat majority. That means that 4 senators is what it would take to go against one of Trump's nominees. It's a pretty high bar for the Senate, but there are some nominees in particular that are the ones looking most on edge. So you have Pete Hegseth, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and potentially Kash Patel as well. But that's a nomination that's a little delayed.
And in terms of the nominations, when they came down, obviously all the attention was paid to Matt Gaetz, and that faded away pretty quickly. There was a lot of talk about Pete Hegseth's background, allegations of misconduct of different sorts in the past. All of that seems to have died down in the last couple of weeks. And is that a matter of I know he's taken a lot of meetings with senators, as all of these nominees have done over time. Are we getting a sense that the winds are shifting a little bit in President-elect Trump's favor, or is it tough to predict that this far out?
It's more of a matter, I think, that it's difficult to predict because so many senators, Republicans, and some Democrats have been very tight-lipped ahead of this confirmation. And they're very serious about advising consent, the role that the Senate plays. And they say, hey, wait until the confirmation hearing. Wait to see what happens there. So it puts a lot of pressure. Pete Hegseth, for example, his is tomorrow. So all eyes will be on a confirmation hearing like that because of looking at the questioning. So we know Democrats are going aggressive. We know there's a lot that they want to hear from Hegseth on his background, but that also means that there's eyes on some of these Republican senators that haven't come out and said that they definitely will support Hegseth. There is a handful of them. So to see what questions are brought up, how silent are they, how that vote shakes out is really central here.
I know over the weekend, when it comes to Tulsi Gabbard's nomination, it looks like Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma is one of the many who says he will be on board with that nomination. Just in terms of what you've seen so far in Capitol Hill, when they take these meetings, is there substantive conversations going on behind these closed doors, or is it more for partisan? I don't want to say showmanship, but unity, I guess.
Sometimes it does feel like when you see a few of them every day and you see all those pictures that the nominee posts with the handshake and in the office, sometimes it can feel a bit performative. But all that being said, with such a narrow, it's still 4 votes in the Senate, yeah. 4 Republican senators, plus all Democrats against that could tank a nominee. So these meetings, especially with those Republicans that are a bit more on the fence, are truly crucial. It's why, for example, Joni Ernst, when she came out with Pete Hegseth, her first message was pretty apprehensive about his background. And then you saw her have a second message that was more positive towards Hegseth because everyone is reading through the lines of what are we getting out of these meetings? Who is saying what is the attitude? All of that is so crucial ahead of these confirmation hearings starting this week.
And I know when we've talked about judicial nominations in the past, there's always the focus on the Lisa Murkowski's of the world and the Susan Collins of the world. Are there any wild cards that we should be watching? Or again, is this one of those things where maybe we'll lean more after we see these hearings?
I would say it's partially the hearings. There are some others that we can expect that eyes will be on. So like looking at RFK Jr., for example, you look to Senator Cassidy of Louisiana, Mitch McConnell, who, of course, had polio, has been very outspoken and is apprehensive about his record on vaccinations, where he stands. But, certainly you have Murkowski, Collins. Those are the 2 people look for. But again, then it takes another 2. So And that is if all Democrats do stand against that nominee, which truly isn't certain at this point, depending on who the nominee is.
No, we have seen in the case of RFK some signaling maybe from the likes of Bernie Sanders or John Fetterman that they're going in with an open mind, and people can take that for what it's worth. Katherine, great to see you again. Good luck this week, and we'll see you again soon on the Final Five.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
And we're back after this.